Hello and welcome to Dr. Smartphone Thailand. Soon it will be Songkran Festival in Thailand, a party where people throw each other with water and shoot with water guns like this one over here. So you can imagine what happens a lot. Phones get wet and destroyed by the thousands during these parties, and that's where Dr. Smartphone can help you out. We're going to show you how to properly fix a water damaged phone. Well, there's a lot on the internet about how to do that. Of course, you shake off the water, then you let it dry in the sun, which is quite easy to do in Thailand. And if you're lucky, the phone already starts working. It's also a good remedy to put it in a rice bag for all night. The rice will soak the water from the phone, and usually your phone has a good chance of working afterwards. However, if you really want to clean it properly, you will have to take the phone completely apart and clean all the parts with alcohol. The reason is that although when you dry it, you will remove the water, however, corrosion is already setting in as soon as water touches the metal in your phone. So even you clean it, dry it off, the corrosion will slowly eat away all the metal parts in your phone until it dies. Maybe 2 weeks later, maybe 1 month later, maybe you're lucky even half a year later. But usually these phones will stop working unless you do a proper cleaning job. So we have here all the ingredients for a man-made disaster. We have our super soaker gun, with thanks to Plantronics for sending it to us with their headsets. Then we have a working iPhone 4 over here, and let's get it wet, the fun part. We're aiming, ready. So that's our wet iPhone. If this happens, try to get it as soon as possible. First thing you want to do is turn it off to avoid the motherboard shorting, and then obviously you want to dry it and shake it off, shake all the water out as much as you can. Now we are going to skip the part where we dry it in the sun or in a rice bag, because it will cost a bit too much time. You'll probably get bored. So we're just going to take the whole phone apart and show you how we clean it. First of all, you need a few tools. One is a Pentelope screwdriver for the 2 screws on the bottom. Then you need a flathead screwdriver, small Phillips. And you will need a small cross screwdriver, like this one over here. So let's get going. Let's get going with this smartphone. We start by opening up the bottom. There's 2 screws. Now make sure you remember where you put the screws, because there's many different sizes. It's very useful to have a map like this that shows all the positions of the screws in your phone, in this case iPhone 4. Open up the back side by simply sliding it up. Now the first thing we want to be removing is the battery. It's fixed with 1 screw over here. And you can simply lift up the connector. As you can see, the battery got wet over here. So it's always better when you have a water damaged phone to replace the battery. In this case we're going to try to reuse it because we know it hasn't been wet for a long time. But if your phone has been wet and you're walking around with it for a month or so without doing a proper cleaning job, it's better to replace it. As soon as you get corrosion on these points here, it may short, it can start leaking, and worst case it might even explode. The batteries are fairly cheap, so it's better to replace them. So after that's done, we will loosen the antenna over here. Remove this bracket for the dock connector. After removing the 2 screws on the bottom, you can take out the speaker. It got quite wet, as you can see. You remove all the screws over here. The 2 connectors for the LCD and the camera. Also, don't forget to remove the SIM tray holder. Oops. And there's one more screw for which we need the Phillips over here. Zoom it in a little bit. After we removed all these screws, we can remove the motherboard, which we will be cleaning later. Now we better also take out the whole dock connector and clean all those parts here. It's secured with 2 little screws here. So you have a good view like this. Now it's glued over here, you can just pull it up slowly. Then the home button is connected via this ribbon cable here. This little cable, you pull it out. Then remove the microphone over here. You can slowly take out this part. You will see there are some metal parts here that need cleaning. Also, later we will clean the inside of the 8-pin connector with a soft toothbrush as well. Better take off this rubber part here so the microphone can dry out. Over here, this part here, that is the earpiece. It also has metal parts that need to be cleaned, otherwise you will be making calls without hearing anyone talk. Then the last part we will be removing is the screen. There's a lot of screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4 screws on the corners that we will be removing. Careful not to lose these small rings. Four screws to go, one in each corner. They are really tiny. Then we need to remove over here the buzzer. So the buzzer has two connectors that we will be cleaning later. Now we can slowly remove the screen. Oh, we forget one screw, obviously. There's another one below here. Here we go. That will be a bit more easy. Be careful not to tear the connectors apart over here. We got the screen removed. We see some water on the inside. Hopefully there's no water between the LCD and the touch glass, because then we will be replacing the whole screen. We're just drying it off a little. I hope it didn't get damaged too much. Here's the home button. Again, small metal part that you must clean to avoid corrosion. And over here is the front cam. Secured with a little clip. We need to be removing to have access. That is your iPhone 4 front cam. Pay special attention to the connector that we will be cleaning later. So we got our complete iPhone disassembled. Then we let it dry for a while. In the meantime, we're going to clean the motherboard. The motherboard over here has some protection covers that we can remove. Take your time for this, you don't want to break anything. See, this phone has been repaired before. On this side of the board where the battery is located, you can only remove the small cover. This one here is soldered to the board, so it's very difficult to remove. We just keep it there. And the last one we can remove is this one here. It's glued over here with some tape. Just remove that. There you go. And now we start the process of cleaning this board. You can use a plastic bucket like this, fill it up with alcohol, throw the board in there. We will be using a special device, ultrasonic cleaner. We got one over here, filled with alcohol. We will put the motherboard in here. There's two settings, 35 watt, 50 watt. We'll choose 35 because it's not too dirty. There hasn't been any corrosion formed yet on the board, so that's enough. Close it. And start the process of cleaning. In the meantime, while we're cleaning the board, we can start cleaning some other components. We do that using a soft toothbrush. And you can just take some alcohol and then start cleaning all the metal connectors that you have, like here. the dock connector. And inside the dock connector, also here on the back side, these connectors you will have to clean. Camera, the camera is actually a part that fails a lot with water damage. Chances that it's working might be even 25, maybe 50%. If you're fast, you have a good chance it will still work. If your phone is exposed to water a longer time, not too much of a chance. This is another part you need to clean. It's the antenna, Wi-Fi antenna. So make sure you clean it properly. And also the antenna connector over here. Basically, every metal part that you see in your phone you will have to clean like this. So be aware of repair shops who clean your phone in half an hour, because chances are very big that your phone will stop working after half a year or maybe even faster. The earpiece, we just clean these little pins here. Then we have the buzzer. Now, our motherboard has finished its shower, or bath if you like. We'll take out the board. And although it's been cleaned quite properly already, we just make sure we're gonna clean all the connectors on the board with a soft toothbrush. Make sure there's no more corrosion on it. You can also clean these parts, but do it very gentle, because they are all kind of little chips and bits and pieces that easily break off. The dock connector. These two parts over here, that's where your earpiece connects. So pay special attention to those parts. the little metal ground pin over here on the top. And another part bound to give problems is the SIM connector. If you don't clean that well, you get corrosion on these metal parts, your phone will stop. At least the SIM card will not be recognized. So you want to clean that very properly. And then we basically finished cleaning all the parts. So all the parts have been drying for a while, and we can put now the phone back together. Some connectors I didn't clean yet are over here. Need to clean those. And there are some electronic parts in here that need cleaning. Another microphone up here. So that's the whole cleaning process, and now we're gonna put it back together. Now when you put the glass back, the screen, make sure the home button is positioned correctly. And make sure the cables here are not stuck between the display and the housing. So, as you can see, the cable is correctly positioned. We start by putting back the 4 screws in every corner. Before you start putting all these 6 screws in here back, make sure your screen has a nice tight fit. So that's all done. Now we need to put this little part back on the top here. And then the front cam. Don't forget to clean the connector. The cover for the front cam. Put the earpiece back. And in the right top, the vibrator. The long screw goes on the left side. We can put back the dock connector. I've already put a little rubber part back over here on top of the microphone. Make sure to clean all the metal parts over here on the back and the inside as we saw before. The connector, of course. Time to put our board back into the phone. the camera front cam or the back cam back in place. And after we've done that, we can put all the 3 connectors over here back. Make sure not to use too much force or you might damage the connectors. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connectors. And on the bottom, I'm gonna put back the dock connector. I'll zoom in for you. When you put the dock connector back and the speaker here, make sure all these little pins over here connect for the antenna. The antenna pins must be connected to the housing, otherwise you will lose signal. And then here's a little connector that needs to go back over here. After the screws, 2 screws here are secured, you can put back the dock connector. The last part, put back the battery. As mentioned before, we recommend you buy a new battery. Since I know it's just been a very short time it was exposed to water, I'll be using the old one. The back cover back on. Well, before closing it, you might want to try and see if it starts up. There you have it, the Apple logo. And after doing this kind of cleaning, the chances of your phone working and keep working are much bigger than when you do just the rice bag or the dry it in the sun or use a hot air blower to dry it. It's not enough. You really need to clean every single part with alcohol, like we just did, and then you will have a good chance of your phone surviving to the next year. So we are back at the home screen. The first thing you want to try is whether the camera still works. That's the back camera. Front camera seems to work fine. Now as we see, the home button works fine as well. Other things that are easily defected by water are the Wi-Fi chip. That's working fine. Bluetooth, also fine. Now, usually we would be testing the GSM network, see if we can make a call. This phone, however, has a foreign SIM card. It's SIM locked. We don't have the right SIM, so we won't be testing that. So far everything seems fine, and yeah, this repair we just did, a proper cleaning job, will make sure your phone lasts longer than a few weeks. And yeah, whenever you bring your phone to a repair shop, you better make sure they do the proper cleaning job and not just the quick toothbrush on the backside job. That won't save your phone, and you pay money for nothing. So for now, we wish you a happy Songkran. We hope your phone stays dry. If not, you can find us. Below is all the contact information, our web address, and feel free to contact us if you have any problems with your iPhone. Take care.